Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your TNA Impact Wrestling for this past Thursday, 2 days ago. And start off with some TNA news first. Okay, TNA is set to unveil their first ever Hall of Fame inductee this weekend at Slammiversary. One major name comes to mind, who has yet to be inducted to WWE's Hall of Fame. It's none other than Macho Man Randy Savage. He had a brief stint in TNA during the mid-2000s when TNA brought several numerous former WWE stars to try to boost the credibility of the promotion. Could TNA one-up WWE and CEO Vince McMahon, whose relationship with Macho Man soared long ago by inducting Savage posthumously at Slammiversary? Leaping Lanny Poffo, the brother of Randy Savage, whose character's name was The Genius, told host Wade Keller during an interview on PW Torch livecast that Savage established stipulations for any induction, which would have to be met by WWE, TNA, or anyone else. Randy wouldn't go in unless I went in with my father. When my father went in, he wanted to go in as the Poffo family. That was the stipulation, Poffo said. Asked if he would uphold Savage's request, Poffo said he would. Poffo then continued, but let me also add that nobody has contacted me from the WWE, so we're just speculating. In other words, Randy got the idea to go in as the Poffos right after the Von Erichs went in. Then he went to Olive Garden to celebrate my father's birthday. It turned out to be his last. He said, if anybody wants me in the Hall of Fame, I'm not going in without my father and my brother. As incoherent as he was at the time, he smiled and enjoyed it, and he understood. And he was very, very happy to hear that. However, let me reiterate, nobody so far has contacted me for the Hall of Fame, but those are the stipulations I would hold to. We didn't cremate him against his wishes, so we certainly won't induct him into the Hall of Fame against his wishes. We'll do it exactly the way he wanted. So, my guess is, won't be a TNA. And also, former TNA slash current Intercontinental Champion, Christian, will also be at the Slammiversary pay-per-view in some way or fashion. My guess is they may induct him into the Hall of Fame to swerve WWE inducting the Four Horsemen with Ric Flair the second time. Okay, back to Poffo, also described as chief concern about being involved in any Hall of Fame induction for his brother, WWE star. Okay, that was it. Former WWE star Chris Masters competed in a dark match prior to Thursday's live Impact Wrestling taping in Orlando. He lost to Robbie E following the appearance. He tweeted, MTI went down tonight, and the once uncertain future is looking up. He then said he would love to accept Crimson's open challenge this Sunday at Slammiversary. Former WWE star Carlito is the latest wrestling name to take aim at Brooke Hogan. He posted a message on Twitter Friday mocking her role as on-screen authority figure and backstage consultant to the TNA Knockouts. And he's quoted by saying, Brooke Hogan in TNA is a blessing for Mickie James. Brooke will help her improve her wrestling skills and teach her how to be a star, as Carlito wrote. After James didn't respond, he added, I just received sad news. Apparently, Mickie James is not speaking to me anymore. I have no idea what I said or did for her to feel that way. Some people just don't comment, asshole. The war of words between TNA star Crimson and Bill Goldberg has heated up. To recap what Crimson said, is his undefeated streak is way longer than that Goldberg guy. When it was brought to his attention that Crimson mentioned him on Impact, Goldberg said, "Who?" Goldberg later retweeted a message saying that Goldberg ate chunks like him during his streak every freaking night. And hashtag real streak belongs to Goldberg. During Thursday night's Impact Wrestling post show, Crimson continued to mock Goldberg. He certainly won't be the person to answer his open challenge for Slammiversary. When a fan tweeted Goldberg about Crimson's latest comments, Goldberg told Crimson where he can find him. He can meet me, quote, he can meet me at my gym at Sut Yed Palong. It's SUTYADPALUNG. Sparring Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. until. My advice is bring headgear and his insurance card. An update on Jesse Sorenson. He was backstage visiting at TNA Impact's wrestling event last week. He said he's said to be doing well and even had his neck brace off. He's had it off for a period of time. News on Alex Silva hasn't been back on TNA since winning the gut check challenge because he was not supposed to win. A gut check talent must have 2 yes votes to get hired. Originally, both Bruce Pritchard and Ric Flair were supposed to vote. Then Al Snow would have the deciding vote. Well, Al Snow was the only vote of yes. Flair was so impressed with Silva's promo that he changed his vote in the middle of the segment. Pritchard was also impressed. Didn't know how to fix things in mid-ring. So he just changed his vote to yes as well. So it made a landslide for all 3 of them. TNA had the option of refilming that segment, but it would have looked bad in front of the live crowd, so they just decided to hire him. Silva has been sent to the Ohio Valley Wrestling and is currently working under a developmental deal. Speaking of gut check, we may not have seen the last of Joey Ryan. His gut check segment with Taz last week got good reviews and caught most everyone off guard. Ryan posted the following video this week, which you can find on his YouTube account. Unknown at the present time what exactly the name of his account is. Probably Joey Ryan. Unless he's going under his real name. Dustin Rhodes, formerly known as Goldust, teased a TNA return on his Twitter account. When asked by a fan why he doesn't make an impact somewhere else if he missed wrestling, and Rhodes replied, "After wedding." So, what's that tell me? He's getting married and he's going to make his TNA re-debut again. And TNA is advertising the main event of Bobby Roode, Kazarian, and Daniels versus Sting, Kurt Angle, and AJ Styles for next Thursday's live Impact. And don't forget, there's a pay-per-view on Sunday. TNA Knockouts ODB turned 34 years old on June the 6th. Happy birthday to ODB. Real name Jesse. Kid Cash will be returning to TNA for next week's live events in Texas. He's been away training for an MMA fight. Matt Morgan will continue appearing for TNA Wrestling despite reports that he has met all of his contractual obligations with the organization. He has been announced for TNA's upcoming Impact Wrestling live event tour of Texas, June the 14th in Belton and also June the 16th in Houston. He is advertised to face Crimson on both shows. Other matches scheduled for them 2-day tour include Rob Terry versus Doug Williams, Gunner versus Garrett again. Kid Cash versus Chris Sabin. Kurt Angle and AJ Styles tag teaming against Daniels and Kaz for the TNA tag titles. And Bobby Roode versus Jeff Hardy for the World Heavyweight Championship. So that tells us a little story spoiler for the pay-per-view. Robbie E. lost to Kevin Nash following 2 jackknife power bombs in the opening match of Friday's Northeast Wrestling Show in Newburgh, New York. And also Kevin Nash had wrestled over the week, earlier this week, and wrestled Damian Darling, and now Damian Darling defeated Big Lazy, as Damian calls him. And so that score is now 1-1 on that match. Karen Jarrett, wife of Jeff Jarrett, posted a cryptic message on her Twitter account on Monday. She wrote, "Trust no one." She added minutes later, "Things are about to get very interesting and entertaining to some of you." And then the hashtag "drop the gloves." Velvet Sky turned 31 years old today. Well, actually yesterday now, because it's past midnight. She thanked her fans via Twitter for their birthday wishes and gifts. She's quoted by saying, "Thank you so much to my pigeon army for all the happy B-Day wishes, and thank you gifts for all the gifts. I truly have the best fans ever." During an interview with Power Slam, Brutus Magnus was asked if he is dating Mickie James. He replied, yes. He was then asked if dating a fellow wrestler is challenging. Unknown about that one. Okay, well, here's his official comment. Quote, "I always said I would never do it because of the obvious difficulties which can arise. But it's worked out pretty well," Magnus said. Then he goes on again, quoted by saying, "You can't help the way you feel. It's one of those things. We've been able to coexist up until this point," unquote. And Magnus and Mickie are currently residing in Virginia. Oh, I'm wondering if he moved in on the family ranch. And the dark match prior to Impact Wrestling on Thursday night. Chris Messers got his TNA tryout and losing to Robbie E. And the second live Impact episode of TNA's Summer Series opened with a video package recapping the AJ Styles and Dixie Carter photo scandal storyline that concluded last week's show. They showed Dixie Carter cutting off the end of Impact last week and screaming at people to get out of her face. They start off in the Impact Zone. Mike Tenay introduces the show and said Dixie will kick off Impact, addressing the Styles rumors. On camera, Tenay and Taz talked about the storyline before rolling footage of what happened after Impact last week. And Dixie threw a fit backstage. They showed her entering the production truck, shouting for David. Dixie cussed out David Sahadi, who apologized many times for rolling Daniels' footage. He said he didn't know where it came from. Dixie told him that this is his job before cussing that everyone could be fired from this. Back live, Dixie was standing in the ring. Dixie acted shooken up and said she finds this whole thing unimaginable. She then said she feels sorry for Daniels and Kazarian, 2 men who are so filled up with hate, ego, and insecurity that they would hurt innocent lives. Dixie said the ripple effect of throwing a big rock in a serene pond will be felt because she come clean about what's going on tonight. Suddenly, Daniels' music interrupts everything, and he brings out with Kazarian to the ring. Daniel said he's out here to help Dixie tell the truth because she got found out. He said Dixie should just tell the people that she's a woman and she wants what she wants. After all, she fought a suitable replacement for her husband in the form of AJ Styles. Dixie sold inner turmoil before slapping the hell out of Daniels' face. Daniels and Kaz then cornered Dixie before Styles stormed the ring to make the save. Styles called out Daniels and Kaz to get back in the ring before Dixie's husband entered the ring. He awkwardly reared back and tried to punch Styles, who flopped to the mat before standing up and staring down Surge, who left the ring. Dixie sold inner turmoil as this is all unfolded. Styles whispered something in Dixie's ear before they left the ring to silence as the crowd tried to figure out what's going on. And Impact goes to a commercial break. And back for the commercial. Mike today reset the show as the camera showed various people milling about the Impact Zone floor. They replayed footage from the opening segment when confusion led to chaos. Taz sold that he's speechless, and Tenay relayed that Dixie and Styles have left the building. He added that Styles is scheduled for the main event tonight, so he can't go too far. Hey, how about some wrestling? Impact Zone. Crimson was introduced for a match after Crimson made his way to the ring. They cut backstage to show Samoa Joe and Austin Aries having a conversation. Aries said that they've known each other for a long time, so he's not about hidden messages. But he has a match right now. Aries then came out to face Crimson in an attempt to give Crimson his first singles loss. And that match was up next, non-title. Tenay announced the 4-way knockouts. Number 1 contender match will feature Tara, Mickie James, Velvet Sky, and Miss Tessmacher. Aries and Crimson went back and forth during the first 2 minutes before Aries snapped off a standing head scissors. Into a corner drop kick. Aries wanted a brainbuster, but Crimson tossed Aries to the outside. Aries turned the tables with a suicide dive, prompting Tenay to claim Crimson's streak is in jeopardy. Suddenly, Samoa Joe came to ringside as the referee occupied himself with a fly in the ring. Joe blasted Aries as the referee was watching, then rolled him up into the ring, where Crimson took advantage, scoring a pinfall for the win. Way to go, referee. Screw up the match. Post-match, Crimson acted so proud of himself for the victory. He then claimed to have single-handedly beaten Austin Aries and said no one here in TNA can beat him. Crimson said he's been undefeated a lot longer than that Goldberg guy. His music finally stopped, and Crimson vowed to prove himself again at Slammiversary by issuing an open challenge. Today wondered aloud who will step up and challenge him. Crimson won a squash match, 3 minutes 27 seconds. Suddenly, Hulk Hogan was backstage talking to himself while walking down the hallway. I wonder if he found little Jimmy. They showed that Hogan was indeed not talking to an inanimate object. As they cut to another shot of Hogan talking to another camera, Hogan's theme for his speech was 4 people, AJ, Dixie, and daughter Brooke, to be careful what they wish for. Then they go to commercial, back from the commercial, backstage segment where Brooke Hogan was showing, entering the Knockouts locker room to formally introduce herself. And there was three knockouts back there, Mickie James, and Velvet Sky, and Brooke Tessmacher. Okay, she thanked them all for allowing her to work with them, then said she's booking a 4-way dance, number 1 contenders match, which has already been announced. Brooke said she'll see them out in the ring. She then talked about new media opportunities, starting with Velvet Sky being in Montgomery Gentry's New music video, the heel knockout sold jealousy over this news. Back in the Impact Zone, Hogan's music played to bring out Hogan's posing on the stage. Hogan slowly made his way to the entrance way because he is getting getting close to 60 years old. Excuse me, Sonny. Can I get into the ring, please? Oh, my back. Anyways, after things settled down, Hogan said this is a party. This is the 10-year anniversary of TNA. Hogan talked about the Impact Stars in the back getting the party started tonight, going to Slammiversary and continuing to Impact next week. As a special surprise, Hogan said next week's Impact will feature a TNA World Title defense no matter who's the champion. So why order the pay-per-view? Suddenly, Bobby Roode's music interrupted to bring out the world champion. Roode entered the ring and said he had a great idea. Why don't you shut your mouth and show me, the World Heavyweight Champion, the proper respect I deserve, Roode said. He said he's tired of Hogan's disrespect. Hogan kept trying to interrupt, but Roode kept going with a laundry list of Hogan's offenses. I said, I'm not done yet, Roode's big line. Roode noted that Hogan is jealous of him because he's a better man, better wrestler, and better world champion than Hogan ever was. He told Hogan that if he wants to be the GM of TNA, he better get back to the office and get the hell out of my ring. Suddenly, Sting's music interrupted to bring out the number one contender. Roode showed no concern as Sting marched to the ring in his oversized t-shirt. Roode quickly put the boots to Sting before finding himself trapped in between Hogan and Sting. Sting no-sold the right hand. He delivered repeated offense to Roode. Sting eventually cleared Roode to the floor. Then Sting's music played, and as he chased off Roode up the ramp. Okay, then they go backstage. The knockouts were shown warming up for the number one contenders match. And they go to commercial. Back from commercial, and they got a backstage segment where Joseph Park was talking to someone off camera. Park, selling himself as a fan who got involved in wrestling, said he never thought he would be here talking to the person behind the camera or to the people through the camera. Park said he's about truth and justice, which he planned to obtain at Slammiversary. And your number one contenders Fatal 4-Way was up next. And Brooke Tessmacher is officially back to being Miss Tessmacher due to Brooke Hogan joining the promotion. A few moments into the match, they cut to a shot of Gail Kim walking out on stage for a closer look as the action continues. TNA cuts to a commercial break. Back from the break, 4 minutes later, Gail was on commentary and the action still ongoing in the ring. Action eventually came down to Velvet and Mickie James to sell a brewing rivalry over who will get attention in the Knockouts division. Tessmacher then snuck in a quick roll-up to score the win on stage. Gail stood up and applauded Tessmacher getting the win. Knockouts match took 10 minutes 30 seconds. Backstage segment, Bully Ray was shown holding some documents rolled up in his hand. He said people will not want to miss what he has to say to Joseph Park during their contract signing. Back to commercial break. And back from the commercial, back live to Mike Tenay introduces a video package recapping events during the first hour of Impact, starting with a Dixie AJ Daniels Kaz Surge storyline. Taz described Surge as one of the most non-confrontational dudes you'll ever see or meet. And cut backstage, Hogan was shown on the phone. He revealed he was talking to AJ Styles and told him he better be back in the arena as quickly as possible because he's booked for the main event. Son of a bitch, as he gets off the phone. And it was unbleeped. Okay. And back in the Impact Zone, Jeremy Borash was in the ring to oversee a contract signing for Bully Ray and Joseph Park. The most boring part of the show. JB first introduced Bully Ray with a dejected tone in his voice. Ray made his way out and bullied JB away from the podium before asking for his music to be turned off. Ray took the mic and asked the crowd if they know who he is before getting in JB's face to ask if he knows who he is. Ray then slapped the mic back over to JB, who introduces Joseph Park. Mr. Park made his way out to his music and waves as he waves to the crowd before collecting himself and awkwardly entering the ring. Park and Ray approached the table before Park asked for a mic. Before anything could happen, Ray tore up the contract for their match and threw the papers in the air. He said that was a contract for a standard wrestling match, but they're not having a standard wrestling match. Ray pulled out a new contract that relieves him of all liability and includes a harmless that no matter what he does to Park at Slammiversary, there will be no repercussion. Ray signed his new contract for the match before demanding Park sign it. Park thumbed through the document before looking around in the arena and said he's not crazy or insane enough to sign this crap, noting he's just an attorney. And I am not signing that, he says, with the bottom lip. For example, I just gave. Ray then asked for a handshake to tease making it a gentleman's agreement. Instead, he spit at Park. Sign the contract, you freaking coward, as Ray shouted. After wiping himself down and watching Ray flip out, Park said for the last 10 years of his life, his brother Abyss gave his life to his company. He said Abyss spilled his blood for TNA and the fans, and Ray is on for an all-out fight at Slammiversary. Park said he's doing it for his brother. Suddenly Abyss appeared on the video screen. He screamed at Park and that he's gotten himself into a situation that he shouldn't be in, and now he's going to be burned. In the ring, Park screamed that he was just trying to help. Abyss said he never wanted his help. Abyss turned his attention to Ray, and they will both find out just how alive he is. Ray showed concern in the ring as Park called out for his brother. Suddenly, Ray smashed Park from behind with a cheap shot to send a message before their pay-per-view match. Still to come segment, Devon's weekly TV title defense against Robbie E. yet again. They cut backstage to show Garrett Bischoff offer to be in Devon's corner tonight. Devon laughed and said he really likes Garrett and said he would be more than happy to have him in his corner. He told Garrett not to cut any corners out there tonight. And they go to commercial. Back from the break, TNA aired a video package of the TNA Hall of Fame and plugged the first inductee to be announced at Slammiversary. Today and Taz discussed the gut check segment from last week. They said that he hasn't changed his mind on Joey Ryan and said that they may have acted unprofessional, but he felt ticked off about Ryan. He said he likes his character, but didn't like his promo. Taz said Joey isn't going to get better by hanging out on Twitter and YouTube. Today then rolled footage of the TNA cameras catching up with Joey from last week. They cut to a video on Ryan backstage after the gut check segment. Joey was shown cutting a promo on Taz before Al Snow confronted him about disrespecting them. Joey said he and the show are pathetic. Then Snow escorted him away, threw him out of the building. Okay, back in the Impact Zone, Robbie and Rob Terry make their way to the ring for the TV title match. Devon, along with Garrett, was out next. Opening bell sounded during a video replay of the events from 2 weeks ago. TV champion with Garrett Bischoff versus Robbie E. with Rob Terry TV title match. A few minutes in, Madison Rayne walked out on stage, made herself look nice while watching the match. Announcers acted like Rayne was interested in Robbie to provide a misdirection to the audience. Meanwhile, Robbie dominated the proceedings as the crowd trying to rally behind Devon. Devon made his comeback with standard offense before Terry tipped him from the outside. After Terry's interference, Garrett and Terry got into it at ringside before Devon and Robbie played a game of whether they could hold a small package for a world record. Eventually, Garrett reversed the momentum for Devon behind the ref's back in a comedy spot to help Devon score the pin on Robbie. After the match, the heels tried to get at Devon and Garrett, but they cleared the heels from the ring before standing tall. And the whole match lasted about 2 minutes 50 seconds. Quite possibly the most blatant expose of business moment of the year with a small package spot. They even replayed it as the direct impact of the night. Still to come, 6-man tag main event as they go to commercial. And they come back from earlier tonight. Bobby Roode disrespected Hulk Hogan and then Sting cleared Roode from the ring. Back in the Impact Zone, Hogan is back in the ring today, and Hogan is going to finish his announcement about next week's Impact. Hogan stood in the ring with a hand on his hip for a while before recapping the earlier segment. Before he can make a big announcement, Mr. Anderson's music interrupted. On stage, Anderson announced himself on the house mic before marching down to the ring with an object in his mouth, which is none other than a toothpick. Hogan sold annoyance as Anderson waved another object as he entered the ring. Finally in the ring, Anderson waited out a light, an asshole chant before asking if they're calling him an asshole. He says thank you. Anderson then put words in Hogan's mouth as he's getting the title shot next week. Hogan told him to cool his jets, which Anderson didn't want to do. Hogan then got his permission to finish his announcement before bringing out Rob Van Dam. They cut a shot to Anderson selling annoyance before RVD entered the ring and waited to hear what Hogan had to say. Hogan wasn't done and he introduced Jeff Hardy next. Anderson continued to sell annoyance as Hardy walked out, not dressed to wrestle. Anderson had enough of this and asked Hogan if he's going to give one of these clowns a title match. Hogan told him they have been playing the game trying to get a title shot for 2 months. So, no matter who the TNA champ is at Slammiversary, the champ will face the winner of RVD versus Hardy versus Anderson in a #1 contenders match from Slammiversary on next week's Impact. Hogan struggling to talk with a sore throat, and he's done. And slammed down the mic, and Hogan leaves, leaving the 3 wrestlers to compete for their #1 contenders title match. Up next, 6-man main event. There you go, back to commercial. Back live again. Mike Tenay and Taz are shown on camera to promote the Slammiversary pay-per-view lineup. This Sunday they focus on the big 4 matches on the world title, #1 contenders match, tag title match, and Abyss versus Park. Back in the Impact Zone, tag champs, Daniels and Kazarian come out first for the main event, 6-man tag. Bobby Roode was out next and took his sweet little time, making sure everyone got a good look at the champ. Roode walked past his tag team partners and posed in the corner before Kurt Angle's music played to bring out the first member of the face team. AJ Styles' music played, but he didn't show up. Angle so concerned in the ring as Daniels and Kaz gloated. Sting's music played and to bring out the #1 contender to join Angle for the handicap match to start the main event. The heels jumped Angle and Sting before the bell, so this being TNA, the ref called for the bell. TNA World Heavyweight Champion Bobby Roode and TNA Tag Champions Daniel Kazarian versus Sting, AJ Styles, and Kurt Angle, 6-man main event tag match. Sting and Angle quickly turned the tables and applied their submission finishers on Kaz and Daniels. This put a fright in Roode, who bailed from the ring. Kaz and Daniels escaped to the floor. Then Roode tried to act like a leader, organizing the heels and calling for a timeout. As they go to commercial, well, they're back from the commercial. The heels are working over Sting as the announcers discuss Styles not showing up for the match tonight following the opening segment. Taz recapped the opening segment and said perhaps it's something that should not be on TV, suggesting laundry is too dirty as opposed to it being a terrible segment. Tenay and Taz then debated whether AJ is the pro they thought he is. In the ring, Sting tried to make a comeback with a desperation Stinger splash, but Roode moved and Sting ate the turnbuckle that is. Chaos prevented a tag situation. Then all the heels hit the ring to gang up on Sting. The referee lost control of the action, but allowed all three heels to remain in the ring. Suddenly, AJ Styles hopped the guardrail and hit the ring to go after the heels. Angle then hit the ring without a legal tag and clean house as the referee let it all go. Angle suplexed Kaz over the top rope to the floor, then exited the ring. Back in the ring, Styles dropped Daniels with a Pele kick. Styles and Sting were left in the ring. Then Styles flip dive splashed the heel onto the floor. Back in the ring, Sting dropped Roode on the mat and slapped on the Scorpion Deathlock with Roode taps. Sting held on the move before he tapped out for like a minute or so. Announcers suggested this could be the scene at Slammiversary, which could lead to a new world champion. After the match, they showed a replay of the finish. Sting grabbed the TNA title belt and held it up in the air as Roode flipped out. TNA gave the final hard sell for the Slammiversary, promising answers Sunday night. And that ends your results. By the way, that match lasted 10 minutes 13 seconds. Thanks for viewing, and be having the results for the pay-per-view from Sunday night. That's tomorrow night from the pay-per-view and Slammiversary. Okay, well that's it. Peace out.